Hey guys, I'm Fancy, and this is Murder by Design, and we are back with another true crime tidbit. Guys, I love doing these. It's quick and easy, and I have a lot of fun with them. And then it also leads to more things for us. So most of the time, these are introductions to our blog pieces, sometimes our podcast or our YouTube channel that we do the longer things on. But I'm going to try and get it out today. It's normally out on Thursdays, but it may not be because this is such an in-depth one that I really want to do because it's one that I personally am very, very fascinated with. And that is, it's sort of this case that I'm going to talk about right now is sort of Manson adjacent. So, big thing for me. I am a huge fascination with Charlie Manson. Now, I'm not a fangirl. I'm not like, oh, Charlie. I'm also not one of those people that thinks that, like, he's this mastermind serial killer and that I think the guy is fascinating for sure because he never wielded a gun, a knife, a weapon of any sort, but he weaponized human beings to actually take lives of people. And so that is very fascinating to me, not necessarily with him, but with the people that he was able to convince to do these things, because that's one of the things we do over here on Murdered by Design, right? Is we try to strive to find the ways that why things happen and how things happen, because it doesn't just happen. In fact, we were doing a podcast last night on Realm of the Mist. That's REALM, Realm of the Mist. You guys should go check it out over on YouTube. I'll drop a link here in a little bit in the comments section. But we were talking last night with Chris from Realm of the Mist, and we were actually speaking on that exact subject about, how many crimes are crimes of passion, how many murders are, like serial killers and planned out, and, the difference in what makes a person do this. Is there something that they all have, So we were talking about a lot of those things, and it was a really great conversation. So you should definitely check it out. It'll probably also be over on our Facebook in a few minutes once I finish this podcast. But today, so I said it was Manson adjacent. I'm going to get into a little bit of Manson facts, but it is talking about the granddaughter of Rosemary LaBianca, or Ariana Jean Wolk. So I'm going to get in a little bit of background, then I'm going to kind of fast forward a little bit for you, and then I'm going to kind of go back to some background, okay? So because there's also the parole hearing of Leslie Vanhouten, and so I want to talk about that too. So if you guys are enjoying this, if you have questions about the subject, please let me know. I will be doing a more in-depth blog about all of this. And it's going to eventually be a podcast series that we do because, like I said, I am fascinated with the minds of these people, because some of the women, if you watched the Manson women, some of them are still fascinated with him. Some of them still believe that he was a messiah and everything. Hey, Maria's Kitty Cats, how are you today? I'm good. I just got back from running some errands. I'm a little hot and sweaty, but I'm doing well. Oh, and guys, today is Wicked Wednesday. So if you haven't gone over to the Good Wives Guide to True Crime podcast on any of your favorite podcast players, or on our home of web, madgingerentertainment.com, it is Wicked Wednesday, and it is our very first episode on Jodi Arias. So that's a crazy tale, but let me get into this. So on the evening of August 9th, 1969, Rosemary LaBianca was on the way home from the lake house, or from the lake, with her husband, Lino, and I think that's it. It's either Lino or Leno. Maybe it's Lino LaBianca, and her daughter, Susan Struthers. After dropping Susan off at her apartment, Rosemary and Lino headed home. Oh, wait, I wanted to show you guys something. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. Let me do this real quick. So I got a new little toy. Look at this, guys. Isn't it cute? It is a 15-minute, which is what these true crime tidbits are supposed to be about, little timer. So I think it's super cute. I got it, and I'm going to start the timer. And I can't put it anywhere that you can see it. That's unfortunate. No, I had to put it over here, but I'll pull it up again in just a minute. Okay. But anyway, okay. So after dropping Susan off at an apartment, Rosemary and Leno headed home. And in the early hours of the morning, Charles Manson, Leslie Vanhouten, Tex Watson, Patricia Krenwinkel, I hope I said that correctly, and 3 others entered the LaBianca home. The LaBiancas were tied up and stabbed to death in the wee hours of the morning. Now, just remember, there was murders the day before as well. So the bodies were discovered by their children, Susan and Frank. There is talk that Susan did not get along with her mom and stepdad, and she had stolen from the home and from Leno's business. So fast forward to 2020. Now, I told you this was Manson adjacent. On July 3rd, Susan's daughter, who is Rosemary LaBianca's granddaughter, Ariana, I don't know how she says it, Jean Wolk, was found murdered. She was also stabbed to death, just like her grandmother, and she also left behind a daughter. Hi, guys. Hey, Chrissy. I know. Isn't it adorable? I love it. So the suspect arrested was a 24-year-old male suspect named Jose Maria Sandoval Romero. What a name. And was arrested in Colorado Springs. Now, that's not where the murder took place, but that's where he was arrested. And however, the affidavit has been sealed and no mugshot has been released because they are still saying it's an ongoing investigation, of course. So there's not a whole lot coming out on this story yet. I'm very interested to see what will come out and what we'll learn. But the connection to her grandmother is what I thought was very interesting, of that this poor family. It's kind of like the Kennedy family who just keeps, dropping like flies and had for years and years. And now this tragedy has struck twice on the LaBianca family. And not just twice, 3 times, because, they killed her husband too. So it's just very, very sad that this is how this happened. Going back to the original cases, though, Patricia Krenwinkel died in prison a year ago after being denied parole as a dying wish. So Leslie Vanhouten, who is the one that is up for parole right now, she was one of the 3 women connected to the infamous Tate and LaBianca murders done over 2 nights in August of 1971. She remains the only living woman left in prison, including Lynette Squeaky Frome, who was not involved in the Tate LaBianca murders, but Squeaky, as most people know her, was involved in an assassination attempt on President Gerald Ford's life in 1975, for which she was convicted to life in prison. She served 36 years in prison before being paroled, and she still professes her love for Charlie. That woman is a loony, I'm telling you. There's just something not right with her, just something not right with her. And all the women that I was talking about the Manson women. I watched the Manson women, and there was just something off in every single one of their eyes. I just, that they talked with, it just was something that just wasn't there. Like it's just not connecting. I don't know. But anyway, so she served the 36 years. She got out, but she still professes love for Charlie. But Vanhouten was convicted and sentenced to death in 1971. But 1 year later, the death penalty was overturned. And so her first conviction was overturned as well because her lawyer died before that trial ended. So she was tried twice more. One trial ended in a hung jury, and one was sentenced to life in prison following a 1978 guilty verdict. So all of the Manson family, including Manson himself, came up for parole numerous times. Manson, funny enough, came up, I think, the least. So he was denied 11 times. Susan Atkins died in prison at the age of 68 after requesting parole numerous times. Patricia Krenwinkel has been denied 13 times and is the longest woman held in prison in California. Oh, so but she didn't do the Tate LaBianca, from what I understand. No, she did. So I was wrong in saying that Leslie was the only one in there. I guess Patricia is still in there as well. Oh, no, duh. Patricia died. That's why she's no longer in there. Oh, my goodness. I feel bad for laughing that she died, but I'm sorry. Anyway, then, so she was denied 13 times. She was the longest woman held in prison in California at the time. She passed away a year ago after being denied parole as her dying wish. Charles Tex Watson was denied 17 times, but has fathered 4 children during conjugal visits while in prison and has started a prison ministry. because he came to God. I guess he denounced Charlie as a god and came to the real God. And at the age of 74, he will come up for parole once again in 2021. Linda Casbian, who was charged in all 7 murders, never served any time because she turned state's witness and even called Charlie the devil during testimony. So Leslie is now up for parole again for the 23rd time. This is supposed to be the best chance yet for being paroled, though she has been recommended 4 other times. She has been discipline free since incarceration in the early 70s. She has been active in several self-help programs. She has had positive psychological reviews. And the Manson family all flaunted their kills in court and pledged allegiance to Charlie. However, since then, Leslie and most of the other women have denounced Charlie as their leader and their god. The board's finding will undergo a 120-day legal review. Following that review, Governor Newsom, will have 30 days to act on the board's findings, and he previously denied her parole in 2019. So what do you think, guys? Let me hear it in the comments here. What do you think? Should these people be let out of prison? I mean, their crimes were pretty heinous. They sat in court and they laughed about them and were smug about them and bragged about them to inmates for years. But now that they're all older, do you still think that it is appropriate to keep these people in prison for something they did in 1971? Do they still pose a threat to society, in your opinion? Do you think that they should be released because it's been long enough and they've served their time? And obviously, they have seen that Charlie was not the all-knowing, all-embodying God that they thought he was. So what are your thoughts, guys? I'd really like to know. Let's have a conversation here. I see a couple of you in here. So Christy loves mystery, Rebel, Linda, Maria. What are you guys thinking? What do you think about this? Do you think that they should be let out? Let me hear you guys. Come on. No. Okay. I agree, Christy. That's my opinion. I don't think that they should be let out. Just like, Joseph James D'Angelo being locked up as the Golden State Killer at the age of 70 something. I don't think that should have any bearing on whether or not they are released back into society or not. Especially the one that I'm really scared about, who is out, is Squeaky. She is just. She's a card short of a full deck, guys. Like, let me tell you, that the sickness of the crime is too devastating. I agree. Now, do you guys believe that Charlie should have been put to death? Do you believe that he deserved the death penalty or life in prison? Or do you think that because he didn't actually do any of the murders according to evidence, do you think that that he should have had a parole release at some point in time? I think that the man was dangerous. That is the thing is that's where I look at it, is, do they still seem dangerous to me? The crime is the crime, but going forward, would I feel comfortable with my child living next door to this person? And the answer for all of them is no. No, I would not. I don't care how great you've been in prison. I don't care how wonderful, you've made a Christian ministry, or you're doing great things for the other prisoners, or, you're the greatest book cart pusher in prison. I don't feel that indicates whether you can or cannot assimilate back into regular society. I feel like that is something that has to be thought about, of whatever caused that in society while you were in society, in my opinion, is there. And when you lock someone away and you take all of that away, then perhaps they are able to not do that because they don't have the urgings. But when you allow someone like that back out into society, I believe that the urgings will come back, because it's the same thing with pedophiles and child molesters. They can't control that. Neither can serial killers, most of them. They can't control the urge that they have. And we talked a bit this last night on the Realm of the Mist podcast interview. I'm going to go grab that real quick, guys, because it was one of our best, I think one of the best interviews that we have done. So let me go grab you a link to it very quickly so you guys can go over after this and you guys can you can find it. So hold on, let me get that for you. But keep talking, guys. Let me know what you think about all of this. Do you think that the LaBianca family is cursed, having this murder of the grandmother and the daughter, the granddaughter in there? Or do you think that, do you think maybe that it's just a strange, one of those weird, strange coincidences? Or what do you think, guys? And it's very eerie. It's very eerie. And and it's eerie to me that it came up at the same time that, that they're talking about paroling Leslie Vanhouten. And I don't know if it's Vanhouten or Vanhouten. It's spelled Vanhouten, but I bet you it's probably Vanhouten. Okay, I'm going to show it. This is where you can go. The link is in the chat here, so you guys can go to here and hear the interview that Colleen and Christina and I did last night with Chris from Realm of the Mist. It was amazing. We talked about all kinds of different things, and I think it was really an informative podcast. All right, guys. Well, so some of you say, Rebel says, I think they need to be dropped off in the middle of nowhere and told to survive the best way you can. I mean, that would be an interesting way to deal with prisoners and criminals. Rebel, I think it was done once in Australia because that's what the British did with their prisoners that they didn't want to deal with anymore. They dropped them off in Australia, and that's how Australia became a country. So that's interesting. So we might have seen some. If that's what we do, then that would have been something that we could explore. Seeing what would happen again. I do agree, Barry. I do think that he would have killed again. Absolutely. I don't know if the girls will. I do think that they would be dangerous and that they could possibly be susceptible to that kind of mental control again. They could be, but they are older. So I don't know. Maybe Barry, I don't know. I go back and forth on this. I'm not quite sure how I feel about Leslie. I think I would have to look at more into it. I do think the girls were majorly manipulated by Charlie. I think that they committed heinous things that they would have never thought of on their own and probably never would again. But I just, I don't know, letting them out. I don't know. I guess if Squeaky hasn't done anything else, then certainly maybe Leslie is eligible and would be okay. But like I said, it's a very slippery slope on that one. As far as I'm concerned, they committed heinous crimes with no remorse. They did not show remorse until many years later when they thought about, hey, I'd like to actually get out of here. It wasn't that they just came to their senses and were like, oh my God, what have I done? No, it was really when they started asking for parole that they began trying to change the narrative of how sorry they were and how they denounced Charlie and da-da-da-da-da. So, but I think if Charlie was alive and they were all able to get out again, I think that there would have been a second wave of something if they'd all been mad up again. So, and so here I'm going to leave you with a final question that I'd love for you guys to drop down into our actual comment section, not here in chat, and answer. So I think it makes a difference between like Tex Watson and Leslie, but them one being a male, one being a female, as to whether they should or should not be released from prison. What are your thoughts? And again, this has been another True Crime Tidbit. Come back and see us again on Friday, guys. Bye. Oh, and we're out of time. Well, because I started a little late. We're out of time.